Reigning world champion Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc appeared as the main protagonists for this year's driver's title, with a sudden breakdown of the Mercedes team, which dominate the championship battle for years. But the Leclerc-Verstappen battle is completely different from the Hamilton-Verstappen battle in terms of competitiveness, as well as in terms of the rivalry between drivers. In terms of driving skills, both have unique and fast driving skills, which can challenge each other. But the battle between Hamilton and Verstappen is a much tighter one than this year, as Verstappen is clearly leading this year's standings with a considerable gap of 80 points. So what is the problem with Leclerc to have such a difference from his rival championship contender? Which are the areas that he needs to improve in order to keep his championship hopes alive? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome back to the Max Verstappen Formula 1 channel, the best place for your daily dose of trending news and updates regarding Formula 1. Before we proceed, please hit the subscribe button and smash the notification bell for more exciting updates. At the initial stage of the 2022 season, Verstappen and Leclerc displayed very aggressive driving against each other in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, indicating the hints of a tight battle between the two at the closing stages. But things did not happen as expected for different reasons, and at one stage Sergio Perez occupied the second position, passing Leclerc in the standings as well. Former Formula 1 driver Mika Salo, who is currently working as an FIA steward, is enjoying the battle between Verstappen and Leclerc, and he showed some points where the difference between Verstappen and Leclerc is caused. The Red Bull suits Max very well, and he drives it brilliantly, Salo explained. Sergio Perez can't keep up with him at that moment either. He was closer at the beginning of the season, but the gap is now very big again. I think Max has the car and tactics much more under control. Verstappen had a certain threat from his teammate Sergio Perez at the Monaco stage, but with the mistakes and unavoidable issues of the car, the threat was gradually reduced when the season gets much older. So the pressure from the teammate on Verstappen is less compared to the pressure on Leclerc from Sainz. Sainz is also a good driver who drove alongside Verstappen for Toro Rosso in his debut year. There was one stage that the Red Bull administration had to decide between Verstappen and Sainz, as they were equally talented in their early years. At the end of last season also, Carlos Sainz finished 2 positions ahead of his teammate in the 5th position, under a situation where Leclerc was treated as the number 1 driver of Ferrari. Carlos Sainz is equally talented, same as Leclerc, and the pressure from his teammate is a heavy burden for the Monegasque driver. Max has a lot more self-confidence, Salo suggests. He already has a title in his pocket and constantly wins races. That self-confidence is Max's strongest point. He doesn't make any mistakes anymore, whereas a few years ago, he sometimes did. That is completely now gone. Max is the perfect driver, and he can play with Leclerc because of that. Another main problem is the consistency issue of Leclerc, where he shows some kind of lack of confidence. This also depends greatly on the lack of understanding and sufficient support from the team. When considering Verstappen, he is driving for the senior Red Bull team since 2016, and he is well experienced with the Red Bull challengers and the team. The team has a good understanding of the reigning world champion, and the engineers know exactly what he demands from the team and the tactics he used during different conditions of the race. Team strategies mostly depend on Verstappen's opinions, as the team keeps faith in him with the things that he already achieved. But Leclerc's situation within Ferrari is completely different. In last year also, he was unable to live up to the expectations, where he finished 7th in the overall standings. The same thing can be repeated this year, as there are a lot of hopes on Leclerc at the beginning of the season, as Ferrari dominated the initial stage of the season with their all-new F1.75. A powerful challenger in combination with a talented driver like Leclerc gives the hope of a championship for Ferrari after ages. All these factors combine to create huge pressure on the Monegasque driver. I think at Red Bull there is more experience, also in working with Max. Leclerc is still a bit more uncertain. He has less confidence because things go wrong so often, and he feels less support from the team. For him, it must almost feel like waiting to see what would go wrong next. That, while Max knows he has a good car, which is fast, and his team also rarely makes mistakes. That makes a big difference. The main problem with Red Bull and Ferrari is the consistency issue. At the initial stage, Red Bull had some technical issues, and they were solved to a great extent when the season matures. But Ferrari still suffers from the issues in their car. Engine blow-up cost Leclerc nearly around 18 points during Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and a turbo failure cost again around 25 points during Spanish Grand Prix, where he had to give up on victory while leading the race. These two engine failures mean he had to take a new power unit to solve the issues and start the race from the back of the grid in Canada. This also cost some important points in the championship standings, but we don't see Red Bull driver Verstappen experiencing any mechanical issues after Bahrain and Australian Grand Prix at the initial stage of the 2022 season. One of the biggest jokes of this season is Ferrari strategies. Poor decisions made by the Ferrari team had cost very important points for both Leclerc and Sainz. Leclerc started the race in pole position at his home Grand Prix in Monaco, and the poor strategic decisions of the Italian team left him stranded in fourth for the final part of the race. Another bad Ferrari strategy call dropped Leclerc from first to fourth once again during the British Grand Prix too. The race in Hungary is also another display of poor strategical decisions of the prancing horses. A controversial decision to put Leclerc on the hard tire and then later the soft, which resulted to drop him from first to sixth and allowed Dutchman to win the race despite poor qualifying and even having spun on the way. This is somewhere that causes the biggest difference between Verstappen and Leclerc. Mattia Binotto should act quickly to solve these issues within his team in order to give a better fight to the Austrian Red Bulls in the second half of the season. When Formula One resumes after the summer break, there will be 9 more races to go. Verstappen starts the second half of the 2022 season with 80 points advantage over Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. It will be a very difficult task for the Monegasque driver to cover up this point difference as Verstappen do very limited errors during a race and only an engine failure or crash made by another driver can stop him during a race. So in order to keep the championship hopes alive, Leclerc has to remain at the top as much as possible in each and every race remaining in the second half. But the Italian team should be able to solve the issues and deliver a 100% perfect F175 for the next half of the season. If it is not, Ferrari will have to give up on the championship despite how strongly their drivers perform. Expressing his view on the current championship battle, former Formula One driver Mika Salo expects it to be a particularly difficult task for Leclerc, even though it appears to be a theoretically possible thing. It will be very difficult, the Finn commented. Verstappen would have to be really unlucky, but he is in an excellent position. There are not that many races left and he knows he doesn't even need to win races to become champion. It's not in his DNA to be second. He wants to win every race. In doing so, Salo predicts that Mercedes may well take advantage. Mercedes may be able to win a race if Max and Charles get in each other's way once, or Mercedes have a perfect strategy and some luck. The world titles? Those will go with them to Milton Keynes, where they will find a place in Red Bull's trophy cabinet, Salo expects. It looks like Red Bull will take all the prizes and dominate, Salo continued. However, I hope Mercedes and Ferrari get their act together and challenge Red Bull. We all want to see good races. I don't care who wins. I want to enjoy the races and the entertainment. What do you think about the current championship battle? Do you believe that Leclerc can win the championship, overcoming the point difference? Comment your thoughts below.